First thing I did was I set a goal, right?
Okay.
Not an income goal. How much can I spend on leads a week? And I set that goal as like, I want to do $300 a day,
Okay.
right? It took me 2 months to get to that point.
You set that goal day one when
Day
you were all
one,
maxed out
when
everywhere.
I walked in.
Yep.
Because where I came from, you couldn't buy leads. So like that opportunity was the opportunity. It was like, you can buy leads.
Yeah.
So it's like, I wanted to get as many as I could. I understood lead flow equaled deposit.
All right, welcome to the next level. Got my man John Egan with us. What's up, John?
Not much, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome, bro. How are you?
Good, brother.
Good deal. I appreciate you coming up. Well, coming across, coming from Chicago.
Yes, sir.
How's it? Is it cold over there still?
Yeah, about 10 degrees colder than here.
Okay. Yeah, you came at the right time. It's like 50 degrees today. So, what I want to talk about with you, John, is older leads, right? Is this a fair statement? Most people that join FFL or any insurance company like ours, they typically come to us, they're not financially secure. Most of them, right?
100%.
100. Like, I mean, of all the people you recruited, you could probably count on one hand how many people that actually came in. Hey, dude, I got money for leads. I got this.
Zero.
Right? Most of them come, like, you came pretty busted, right?
Yeah, I had 2 personal loans totaling 16 grand and then 4 credit cards maxed out and a negative checking account.
That's where you were at when you joined us.
Yeah.
How'd you buy leads?
I didn't. So at first I ran, Jay Maska gave me 200 of his old leads.
Okay.
Leads he has previously ran. I got that and, I hit the road running.
Now, Jay Maska can sell.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with leads that someone who actually can sell already had.
Yes.
What was it like dealing with them?
I mean, I found it a breeze. The thing about me and Jay is like we're so aligned, but we're so opposite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when I was calling these people, like say somebody who cussed him out, they're welcoming me with warm arms. And it ended up with 200 leads. It took us 15 minutes to book 30 appointments for the next day.
Right.
So it really wasn't as hard. And back then, here's the big thing about Jay and me. It's like we don't run leads twice. So you buy the leads, you set your appointments, you go out, then you'll never touch them again. So if I come in 2 weeks later and he's never touched these leads since then,
Yeah.
I call that a fresh pack.
Absolutely. Because to your point, it's a different person. It's a different day, too.
Yeah.
How many times have you called a lead, guy cussed you out, hung up, whatever, called that same guy back a week or two later, and booked the appointment like nothing happened?
100%. It's never about you.
No.
It's never about you. It's
They
about
just might be
time.
having a bad day.
Yeah.
You can't take it personal.
Right.
So when people come, dude, I have no money for leads. I can't spend $2,000 a week on leads right now. Okay, you will eventually, but day one, you're going to have to learn how to manage these leads. Like, dude, I was in a similar spot because I was direct to Sean,
Yeah.
who can outsell just about anyone. So he's giving me his old leads. At first, that negative sets in like, dude, how am I going to – I'm a brand new agent. Sean's been doing this at this point. It's about a year and change already. He's selling, 20, 30 grand a month back then. How am I going to call leads that he was unable to book? How am I going to close people he was unable to close? But to your point, it's just a different voice, dude.
Yeah.
They never even mentioned someone called them before.
100%.
So what to a new agent who has no money, talk me through what you would suggest for a lead strategy.
First thing, and I'll talk a lot about what I did because
Yeah.
I was in a similar situation 2 years ago. First thing I did was I set a goal, right?
Okay.
Not an income goal, not an expense goal, a goal on how much I could spend on leads. So I guess it is an expense goal.
Okay.
But how much can I spend on leads a week? And I set that goal as like I want to do $300 a day,
Okay.
right? It took me 2 months to get to that point.
You set that goal day one when
Day
you were all
one,
maxed out
when
everywhere.
I walked in.
Yep.
Because where I came from, you couldn't buy leads. So like that opportunity was the opportunity. It was like you could buy leads.
Yeah.
So it's like I wanted to get as many as I could. I understood lead flow equaled deposit.
Okay.
So I started immediately running those, got some money from there, didn't pay off any of my credit cards or anything like that. They were already maxed out, couldn't get any worse.
What'd you spend on your first lead purchase? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was $1,200 something.
$1,200.
Yeah, and it was split up, so it was like $5 grand total, but split by 3.
Okay. What'd you buy for leads?
Just final expense mailers.
Old, new stuff?
Old, just the oldest ones you could get. Well, second oldest, because the
Second
oldest ones you can get are like 20 years old.
Yeah, you don't want those. So
Yeah,
you were
so-
paying, what, $5 a lead or something?
Yeah, it was $5 to $8.
$5 to $8. And on average, how old were they?
6 months to a year.
Okay.
2 years after that.
Yeah. And you've obviously called on new leads, right? You've been doing that forever now. What's the biggest difference between calling on leads that are 6, 8 months, year old versus leads that are a day or an hour old?
So old leads, the only difference is you're introducing yourself a lot longer.
Okay.
I'm here from here. You did this then. You know what I mean? Like, do you remember filling this out? You have to take the 10, 15 minutes to get over that step to actually sell it.
Okay.
Whereas with the new leads, it's like, hey, you filled this out 5 minutes ago. I was calling you.
Right. Yeah. I don't remember. Like, dude, you're just on.
It's like, what stuck out in the video that made you put your information in? Well, this. Well, now I have a selling point. I didn't even have to find it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, who's your beneficiary? Oh, it's on here.
Yeah.
I don't have to find it. I'm like, so you wanted Amanda to get that money if you passed away, right? It's done.
Right.
Whereas before, it's like, okay, now I see you didn't list a beneficiary. Who would be the beneficiary if something didn't happen? And then you got to use it later down. So it's like instead of having to collect ammo to shoot, you get a gun with ammo in it.
Right.
Is how I refer to a new lead. So that's the biggest thing that I notice is like when you have all the resources, the job gets easier.
Yeah.
You know, if you're cutting a tree down with your bare hands, it's going to take a lot longer than
Right.
if you had an axe.
Yeah.
So that's the big difference is you just have better tools.
Correct. It's almost, and then going from old leads to new leads, it's like going from an axe to a chainsaw.
Right.
You can still do it with the axe, dude, but it's going to take you a little longer.
100%.
And I think that was always our thing was, it's just going to take you longer to book the same amount of appointments, right? If I have 300 old leads and you got 300 new leads, you're probably going to get your appointments quicker.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if I put in the effort, I can get the same amount of appointments.
And that was the one thing I did different than a lot of people. So with the fresh leads, I will book an appointment. But
Okay.
with the old leads, I call to close simply because I notice with those leads, if you book an appointment, it's to avoid you. So it's like you call them, they know not to answer. But if they're like, hey,
Right.
can you call me later? Yeah, I'll call you later. You just hang up on them. They're like, what just happened? When you call them later, they won't remember.
Correct.
So it's like that's what I turned into start doing. He was like, you get 100 fresh or aged leads, I should say, not
Yep.
fresh. I call them fresh leads still.
Right.
You get 100 fresh leads a day.
Well, they're fresh to you, right?
Yeah, brand new to me.
Yep.
So run through those. You probably get 2-3 sales out of that,
Mm-hmm.
and then you come back through and you call all those people that you did talk to but didn't have time. It's like now you got another 1 or 2 sales out of it.
Right.
So that's the big thing I like to do is just run the leads while I can, and then after that take care of whoever didn't have time.
Got it. How long were you buying predominantly older leads for?
Up until January, so 2.5 years. Basically.
2.5 years.
Yeah.
And you sold, what was your best month in those 2.5 years?
Best month it was like 38,000.
38,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. But low lead cost,
Right.
right? High profit.
Yeah.
And did you set up all your agents on older leads?
That's a whole agency did it.
That's all you guys
Everyone. Yeah, we ran bronze internet leads and the cheapest mailers until the mailers like went up in price at some point, which wasn't a problem. But
Right.
at that point, we just switched fully over to bronze internet leads.
Yeah. And how did you, because a lot of this, dude, to me, there's two things that have remained true in this business since I've joined it. Attitude and activity.
Yeah.
You manage those two things, you can have success.
Right.
And it sounds simple, but it's not. Like a lot of things that you just said right there, people won't even pick on. I get 100 fresh leads. You didn't say brand new. You said fresh.
Mm-hmm.
They're older leads.
Right.
But to you, they're fresh. But if you got that same batch of leads and you said, I'm getting 100 old-ass leads, man, they probably suck. Your results won't be the same.
Not at all.
Because it starts up here. So it's all in how you're talking about it, how you're presenting it. So if I'm a brand new agent, I know nothing. I'm John, dude, I'm broke as dog shit. I'm trying to get some leads. How are you walking me through this process and getting me ready for the field, explaining to me that I'm buying old leads, what I should expect? Like, how do you set up a new agent?
So one, I don't tell them they're old. I'm like, dude, these are fire.
Okay.
Like, these are the leads. And I purposely do get them like the worst ones.
Yep.
I tell them, and I'm like, dude, it's the best thing.
Yeah.
You got people that have insurance that they've already bought. You can sell them more. You know what I mean? You have people who don't have insurance. You sell them insurance. And that's the biggest thing is before they even get on the phones, I mean, we do a whole boot camp with them. So we have Jay's website. We have my website. And then we also have the website on FFL America that we use.
Yeah.
You know, we have them run through all those trainings before they have a agent number.
So before they even touch a lead, they're going through all this training.
Yeah, and we purposely do this while they're waiting during onboarding.
Got it.
You know what I mean? So they're already working full time.
Okay.
After that, you know, they are prepared. They know what a phone call is going to look like. They have all the scripts memorized. That's when we get them these leads and we tell them that, you know, like, hey, here's a fresh lead pack. Never say it's old or anything. Like, if anything, I'll say 3 to 6 months old, maybe like a couple years old. But, you know, say things like that. And the biggest thing is walk through it with them. Like, when I have a new agent, they sit right here.
Yeah.
And what it looks like is not like you mute the phone every time you're not talking. Say they throw him a curveball, I tell him what to say, he repeats it.
Right.
And then I do this funny thing where it's like, all right, you know, and like sometimes you have someone just panics and they're like, whoa. I'll like take the phone and I'll mimic their voice. And like, so, and it works is the funny part. And it's like, just showing them that it's not necessarily about what you're doing, it's the confidence behind it.
Yeah.
Then you get on the phones and say just about anything.
Right.
You'll sell them.
Absolutely.
It's just how you're saying it.
Yep.
And that's what I show from day one.
Yeah. And this goes back to that mindset. If you tell your agent they're old leads and they're not good, then you're setting them up for failure.
Right.
I'm saying lie. Don't tell them they were filled out yesterday, but hey, this is fire batch. Those great leads.
Yeah.
Best leads you're going to get today. Right? Like, who cares?
Not wrong.
You're not wrong. They are the best ones you're going to get right now, bro. And why did you wait 2.5 years to start buying newer leads?
It was working.
Yeah.
Till then. It was working till then. And really, it would still work. But the big difference, and this is what I do to transition people into, which we'll get in a second, but it still does work. The only difference is you're putting in more hours and you're not getting as big of results. And that's the big difference. And then what actually made me switch was retention. That's what made me switch. I wanted those policies to start staying on the books. Because before this, we were sitting at like 70-something retention.
Got it.
Not good at all. So where we got...
Because of the leads or because of the products you were selling? Or both?
I would say, the leads and the products aligned.
Yeah.
You're calling people on Social Security, disability.
Correct.
You got final expense. That's the only thing they're going to qualify for.
Right. Yeah, we don't have a lot of old IUL leads.
Right. Yeah. You got the social medias, but they run up quick.
Right.
So that's the thing is, you're working with people that could only qualify for certain things. You got the death claims paying out. You got things like that. People are falling off. Yeah. Whereas when you work with somebody in their 20s who wants something that's going to build them equity over the next couple of years so they can purchase a house down the road.
Right.
These are people that are doing it for another reason and that are going to keep that policy over other bills.
Right.
Because I've noticed if you get a $20 policy and something happens, that's the first thing you're going to cancel is your life insurance. But if your life insurance is $1,000, you're not going to cancel that first.
Correct.
Yeah.
There's a lot more value in that.
Yeah, you're going to cancel your car wash membership or something.
Yep. You said to me before we got on, I was asking you about struggles, right? So a lot of times people do these podcasts, John, and they talk about all the best stuff, right? It's great and it's perfect and it's this and it's that. I'll tell you one thing, we are not perfect as a company. We don't strive to be. We just strive to get better every day and be the best place for a life insurance producer.
Yes, sir.
That was our goal when we launched this in 2014. And I still believe to this day that we are the best spot for a producer.
100%.
Right? And we're the best spot for a manager as well, but you got to produce first. I asked you what's one of the biggest struggles that you've dealt with recently, and you said moving from older leads to new leads, right?
Yeah.
Why is that?
So the big thing is when people get adapted to a certain thing, they seem to stay it's like an evolution. You don't adapt every time there's a new generation. It's over generations. So, when you go into getting used to paying, okay, I'm paying $4,000 for leads a month and I'm selling 20,000. You get addicted to that. And then when it's like, okay, now it's time, let's make that lead flow $12,000 a month. Hey, well, what are you talking about? I just spent all that money that I made because I'm used to only having to spend $4,000. And that's when you got to slowly get people into it, and it takes time. And you'll have people start spreading negative stuff. Like I had this one kid walking around the office who he was broke. He spent his money very miserably. He was out partying every weekend, like I was telling him not to. Having a good time with his life. Nothing wrong with that. But when it comes down to it, he's walking around the office telling people, well, it's not going to work because I can't hire people because I don't know because I'm running these old leads and they're not good and I'm stuck on the bronze leads and I just can't get into high intent. And it's like, dude, now your whole team's waiting for something that they can't get.
Correct.
And it's like, dude, all it took was you running bronze one more month hardcore. Like set the tone hardcore and you're going to be able to get that. But instead now all your people are becoming weasels. They're trying to get out of the business because you scared them.
Correct.
And that's the big thing. It's like some people get scared. Some people just aren't willing to invest the money. They don't think they'll get the money back. Yeah. Then other people just do it right away.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it takes those other people that did it right away to show the people, what it takes. Yeah. And that's the thing. That's why it takes so long, and that's why it's a process. Is because not only did we all just move from Tampa to Illinois, it's everyone paid at least $5,000, bought out of leases. Now they're on top of that. They're expected to get into higher intent leads, which is like it shouldn't be an expectation from me. It should be a goal. It should be what they want to do. And that's the biggest thing is like a lot of people, you got to change their mindset to I want to do this from I have to do this. You know what I mean? Like I don't tell people they're employees or my agent, things like that. I always say business partner. Correct. My business partner. It's like because at the end of the day, we were all just agents. Yeah. Now we have an office. Now we have a business. Right. We're business partners.
Did you lose some agents during this transition?
Yeah. So we lost about $260,000 at premium. Okay. Yeah. So a lot of agents.
You're okay with that?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I told most of them not to come. Yeah. So like that's the thing, and I'll touch on this is, when you have agents coming in doing the wrong thing, same thing with this kid who's scaring the crap out of his team. Yeah. It's like, don't come in then. because at the end of the day, you're only as strong as your weakest link. And, you know, if your weakest link is bringing drugs in the office, like, he's not coming in the office.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like that's not something we're going to let happen.
Well, he produces a lot, John.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I'd hope so. But no, but that's the thing. It's like, you could do that somewhere else then. It's not my problem. Or he could have worked virtual and minded his business and it would have never been a problem.
Correct.
But he didn't. So, like, that's the thing. And then, like, when we get rid of people, it's not necessarily performance based.
Yeah.
I'll take like, this one my football coach always said. He's like, I'll take the kid with no experience rather than a kid who was trained wrong. Absolutely. Because it's form. You can make the form, but you can't change form. And, like, that's the big thing. And I always like to get rid of the people that do cause harm to our team, whether they know it or not. And I'll sit them down first, say, hey, this is what you're doing. This is what's causing it to our team. Second they say it's someone else's fault, they're gone. Right. It's like, you know what I mean? We don't need the premium that much.
Yeah. Because you're running a business. You're not running a damn friendship club. Right. Like, well, I'm going to hurt his feelings. Who gives a shit? We're not here to hang out. Yeah. Like, hey, if we work together for a long time and become friends, that's great. Yeah. But that shouldn't be the goal. Like, I need to make as many friends as possible. No, you're running a business.
100%.
These are not employees. These are business partners, 1099, independent contractors. They don't have to be here. You don't have to have them here. You don't have to have any damn reason to terminate. They're independent contractors. Yeah. Can't just fire an employee for no reason. There's all kinds. I've learned that with There's all kinds of shit involved there. Yeah. But, dude, you're an independent contractor. I go, hey, dude, you're done. What do you mean? No, pack your shit, leave. Right. Why? Because I don't like you anymore. Like, well, I don't like your haircut. I don't know. Leave. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I have to give you a reason.
And that's the big thing, too, with insurance, at least how I grew the business. Like, I was sleeping in beds with my agents. Like, yeah. And the big thing is where people come in and they say, like, okay, well, you guys are business partners. Like, you can't treat them any different than you would treat yourself. Well, yes, I can. Right. Because they're all looking up to me and expecting me to guide them. Yep. I do need to show them what's okay and what's wrong. When they do something wrong, I do need to tell them they did it wrong. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's not something like even if you do become friends, even if you're friends before it, it's still not something, even if you weren't friends, it's still awkward. You don't like going to tell someone how awful they just did something. It'll always be weird. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you could do that and it impacts at least one person positively, you did your job.
Absolutely. The guy told me this years ago. This was at the old company. Guy who's been in life insurance for a long time, very successful. He's doing a recruiting training. And he said the day you recruit your first agent, you give up the right to be average and ordinary. And that stuck with me forever. And I think that anyone recruiting needs to understand that. Yeah. Because now you're leading someone. Now that person is depending on you for help. They're looking to you to help get them out of a situation that they're in. We talked about this earlier and on your True Talk. Like, people don't come to us independently wealthy. Yeah. Hey, John, I'm rich. I was just so bored being rich at my house. I wanted to sell life insurance. Can you help me out? You ever had that recruiting call? No. It's usually, dude, I can't pay my mortgage. I'm about to lose my house. How fast can I make money? Yeah. And now it's my job to lead you. So I can't be average. I can't be ordinary. I have to step up. I have to have those difficult conversations. If the guy sitting next to you in the cubicle is bringing in drugs, I got to remove him from the office for you and for everybody else watching. Like when you decide to start an agency, you have to become a leader. Right. There's no way about it. You have to.
I always put it like this to all my new leadership meetings. I always say the second you hire one person, you're a leader. Just like the second you have a kid, you're a father. Correct. You're either a bad father or you're a good father. Right. You're either a good leader or a bad leader. You're a leader, though. Yes. It's just up to you to suck or not. Like, if you're going to suck, then stop bringing people in. Yeah. If you're going to take care of yourself at the highest level, bring as many people as you can and change their lives. Right. That's the big thing.
Yeah. What about, did you deal with any of this with agents on newer leads? Because you're buying low-cost leads, whatever you want to call it. You got a lot of chances, right? It's like batting practice versus playing in the game. Right. Batting practice, I missed one. Keep them coming. Dude, in the game, you got 3 strikes, you're out. Yeah. And it's kind of the same thing going from cheaper leads, right, older leads where you can get, $100 gets you whatever, tons of lead. Where, I mean, what's been the most you spent on one lead?
On one lead?
Yeah. Direct mail. What's highest?
Direct mail.
$50,
probably
80.
60. I was going to say like 60, 68.
Yep. And if you're buying, $5 leads, you get almost 10 for that, right? So 10 chances versus 1. So I get the whole, being almost afraid to call because, dude, if I screw this up, one of them's $60. Yeah. If I buy 10 and don't book an appointment, that's $600 out the door, right? Right. First of all, how did you manage that, and then how did you help your agents understand that?
So here's the big thing: unless they're at a very good spot, like when me and Jay switched our lead flows, like we set our goals, like once you have $10,000 in your account, we're gonna switch. Okay. That's just what we did.
Yeah.
Now what I have people do is like, okay, instead of just cold turkey switching, what you're going to do is you're going to start buying, say, 25 of these high intent leads. It's an extra $1,000, $2,000.
Yep.
And then you're also going to still get your 100 bronze leads every single day, Monday through Friday.
It.
So we're not taking away and replacing lead flow.
Just adding to.
We're adding to it.
Got
until they can replace it.
Right.
But when I mean replace, like 100 high intent leads a day.
Yeah.
Like we're not talking about 100 a week. You're going to get the same results.
Right. What do you think is a good time frame to go from all, older leads to that 100 high intent a day?
I would say within a month or two.
Month or two.
Yeah.
Got 100%. It. And you guys set for you 10 grand in the bank, then we can start moving over.
Yeah.
Do you do that with your agents or any other type of number? Or?
We do. We like now. I don't like to do it based off of money because when we started, it was a lot more simple. Like we just slept on floors and
right.
we didn't have any other bills. So now it's like 10 grand. Like they still got to pay their other bills and like things like that. So I don't like to put a number.
Got it.
But I do like to say like, okay, like at some point you do got to make that switch. Like if you're saving money every month, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
You're not growing.
And you got to be involved with your agents. Like it boggles my mind at times when you call someone up, you ask them about it, and they have no idea.
Right.
Hey, dude, how's he doing financially? Oh, I don't know. He's probably pretty good. Do you know how much money he has in the bank? No. Do you know how much he got paid last week? No.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember Sean calling us every week. How much you get paid today? Not because he was like being nosy, because he's like, dude, are you making money?
Yeah.
And how much are you making, and why aren't you making more?
Right.
Because people are sometimes hanging on by a thread, bro.
A lot of people.
A lot of them are.
Yeah.
You talked about this earlier, bonus. Your VP, and then some. What's been your biggest bonus check with us?
13,000.
13,000.
Yeah.
How'd that feel?
Felt good.
Yeah.
And it definitely felt good. And then after that, like that's like it aligned with my other checks, like my Americo checks. Where, like every Monday it'd be like 10 grand, and it's like they aligned so perfectly that it was like, holy shit! It changed overnight. It felt like
really.
It was like holy shit! Like you work 900 days and then you're an overnight success.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it felt like.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude, when you think about where it can get to. And just by doing your job, like I don't say you do anything special. You got to build a profitable agency to maximize the bonus, how it's designed. But you're just doing what you would have done anyways.
Yeah.
Right? Selling, recruiting, training, the whole deal, and then $13,000 check. You mentioned America. All these carriers have these, you first, this, that. Like, dude, it's insane where it can get to and how fast you can get there.
100%.
How do you help your agents set goals early on?
So we do this right away. It's like one thing I have my admin do it actually.
Yeah.
We send a 90-day planner.
Okay.
So basically they plan out how they want their 90 days to look like. Once they finish their tests and things like that, or even do their onboarding, that's when I sit down and have a meeting and review that with them. So I do an immediate review, and then I do a review at the 90-day mark or 4 months, depending who it is.
And you're doing
like
these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll sit down with them. We'll talk to them about, okay, this is what you're doing right. This is what you're doing wrong. Things like that. Now, if I notice right off the rip they're not doing what they need to do and not online with their goals, I'll sit down with them. I'll talk to them, one, performance-based, like how we could help them. And two, I'll ask them if I could keep them accountable.
Yeah.
So I ask permission. And then I can't hear anything about, well, you're just mean.
Right.
Like, no, I'm not. You told me to keep you accountable.
Correct. You set these goals. You asked me to keep you accountable.
It's like what do you want worse? Me calling you at 6 a.m. asking why you're not awake, or you want to wake up with your Lambo? Like, what you said to the school? What do you want?
Right.
And like once you do it like that, it's an overnight difference because now you're putting the pressure on them. Before the pressure was on you to make them great.
Yeah.
Now they're trying to make themselves great. So that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you dealt with debt? Any roll-ups?
Yeah.
What's been the biggest one?
120.
120K.
Yeah.
When was that?
Last year. So last year I had I hired. This is like I was in the hospital. I hired these guys.
Okay.
Because I was still working.
So you're in the hospital recovering.
Yeah.
You're hiring these guys where? Online?
Yeah, just like virtual. Like I'd post ads, things like that.
Okay.
And this guy swiped up. He's like, I'm at this company. I want to come over. Like this happened. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
No red flags. You know what I mean? Just another licensed agent want to bring his 3 guys over.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, cool, bro. Let's do it. And then within 3 days, all 3 of those guys plus him wrote 40,000.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, damn, that override check hit. But
oh, so this is the first time you've had this. You're like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, I'm like, holy smokes.
Yeah, you learn real quick.
No, but all jokes aside, like once I realized we paid his earned them and termed him out, and then a couple months later, it ended up rolling up and hitting. But this was like when the VP bonus was huge. This is when like Tampa office started blowing up.
Okay.
So it hit my account and it was cleared in 2 months.
Really?
And it was like all on America, so it was one place to deal with. It wasn't everywhere.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as messy as it.
What'd you think at first when you realized shit, 120K's coming up?
Dude, I did not care.
You didn't care?
I did not
Why?
care. I mean, I knew it would get paid off.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm. So here's the thing. Like, I'm still grateful about how much money I'm making. Like,
Right.
it's still unreal to me, and I'm still grateful, understanding it can go away.
Yeah.
So it's like you're gonna tell me that instead of me making 90 grand this month, I'll make 60, and I should feel bad. I don't care.
Right.
You know,
it's double what you used to make in a year.
Yeah. So it's like, oh no. So like that was the big mindset for me, and it was like I knew like exactly how much I get paid on that carrier every month.
Yeah.
And I knew it would be gone in 2 months, so I wasn't worried about it. And that was the big thing is like people get so scared and wrapped up in like, okay, it's 120,000. Okay, yeah, I could have made 920,000. I'm still
Right.
grateful I made 8.
Yeah.
Like,
and you can't do anything about it now. Like
Yeah.
you can't go back and fix it. You can prevent it in the future.
can
That's
learn.
always my thing. What can we learn about this? What
Right.
can we learn by this? Because everyone's been there. They get a new guy getting started, and they're just selling at a pace you've never seen before. And that first instinct is usually what you had.
Yeah.
Oh shit, dude. He's gonna get paid a lot. I'm gonna make an override. It's gonna be awesome. Then you learn really quick that that's not normal.
right.
What we probably should do is call some of the clients. We should probably call them up and go, "Hey, John, you sold like 40 grand yesterday. What are you doing?" Right? Like, how different do you approach things like that now?
Oh, now it's like we catch them so like
Yeah.
it's always happening. Like we just had one recently. He came in under one of my guys, Thomas Fox, and it's like, dude, it's no surprise. Like he dropped 8K his first day, and he has no sales experience. Like,
Right.
And he's not on Zoom with you. He's not in the office.
Yeah.
How do you think he did that? And every time you call him, he says he's busy.
Right.
It's like, all right, get rid of him. Like he lasted one day. So it's like, yes, like one day could be detrimental. He could put up some numbers
Absolutely.
in one day. But at the end of the day, the carriers are helping us. You know, they're on track of it. I know all the reps now. I think that's when I met, Americo's new rep. I think it was Lindsay at the new rep. But now, like, I have everyone's numbers. You know what I mean? Like, if something
Right.
happens, they call me, like, hey, what do you know about this guy? And same situation. It's like, I don't know this guy. You got hired yesterday. Why are you calling me about him? Well, you wrote 50 grand. All right, get rid of him and don't put any of that business in
Right.
force. So it's like things like that just to help us.
Yeah. And you just have to look out for the red flags. Like, I
Yeah.
think a lot of times, especially early on, we ignore red flags. It's like a relationship, dude. When you first get nothing bothers you, right? Dude, everything she does is amazing, John. The way she breathes, and then like, a year goes by and then little things matter. She leaves her shoes here, does this, or vice versa. Dude, all that stuff was there. You were just in this honeymoon phase and you ignored it.
Right.
Fine. But when it comes to building a business and recruiting, you can get hurt being in that honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
And it's hard to, especially when you're just building a business. You got your first couple guys. You're excited, right? Shit, I got a couple guys selling, dude. This is awesome. But you can get hurt real quick
100%.
if you ignore the red flags.
Yeah, and that's the big thing about keeping up with your books and the carriers and checking your portals, because a lot of people just don't do it as simple as that.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can see what you guys are submitting.
Just a lot of work.
Yeah, and it's like you just gotta what do you got to type in your username and look,
Right?
And that's the big thing. Is like when people get lazy, that's when something like that ruins you.
Correct.
If you let that slip by I've heard about this story about this guy that Sean worked with. 1.3 million he had to write off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like instead of that, like he could have been like, well, screw this, I'm going to a different company.
Right.
But he's a man of his word. He stood on business and he took care of it. But it's like if you could catch it sooner than later, you don't get in that position.
Right. Just always remember it's a business. It's a business.
Right.
They're not here because they like you. They're here because they make money.
Yeah.
Some people are here to try to hurt you, and have that approach. But it's work. If you're putting in the time, like what's your work schedule like for the week?
Oh, all the time. So especially with this new office opening. So what I do is I get to the office about 7:30.
Okay.
Sales trainings at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Usually meeting in the morning. I set aside to meet with people like agents now.
Mm-hmm.
So one-on-ones from 9 to 12. And 12 to 3 is break, but I live an hour from the office, so I don't take a break. So I just stay there. And then it's 3 to 9:30, and then everyone heads out about 9. I stay till 9:30. My goal is to stay longer than cleaning people.
Got it.
That's what I like to do.
So you're at the office from about 7:30 in the morning to 9:30 at night.
Usually about 10 or 11.
10 or 11.
Yeah.
Every day, 5 days a week.
6 days a week.
6 days a week.
Take Sunday off now.
Take Sunday off.
God's day.
Yeah, and you do that every week.
Yes.
And I think there's this misconception sometimes with this business because you see someone go from 0 to 100 quick, right? Like, dude just started, now he's making all. They don't see all that though.
Right.
That goes into it, and that it's unwavering. You have to do that every week.
Yeah.
You can't take 3 weeks off and then come back. Like, your business falls apart.
Right. And that's what I noticed a lot of people starting out, they take vacations.
Yeah.
It's like Vacations are cool. Like I've gone to Punta Cana once.
Yeah.
But it's like I also went for 3 days, and that was when we were doing $600,000 a month.
Right.
And then like the day before that I worked, the day after that I worked.
Correct.
So it's like you can take your time, but you got to have the leadership in place. You got to have systems. You got to be ready to take that time.
Yep.
You know, like there's this one kid who started with me. He still doesn't have a team. Still sells 15, 20 grand a month. And it's like, dude, like if you would have not took the 9 vacations our first 9 weeks, you would be in my position.
Right.
But you missed out all the training. You didn't work with us, and now it's like now you have to sacrifice now, where I'm getting to the point where I can start having a little bit more fun.
Right.
So like that's the big thing I try to explain to people, like it's upfront sacrifice.
Correct.
And like I knew that from the beginning. It's like if I give up now, like I'm gonna get later.
Yeah.
So
It ain't forever.
yeah.
Do it for a few years.
Yeah.
Sell out for a few years, so then in 5 years you can live the way you want to live.
And it was always like before, it's like, okay, like 18 to 21, it's like you can't even go out to the bars and have fun anyway.
Correct.
So it's like use that time, and then by the time you turn 21, you're like, I don't want to go out to the bars because now I have results.
Right.
So like that's the big thing. It's like you go to the bars when you're 60 or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
do it later.
100%. Yeah, when you're older and you're past that time, but put that work in now. It's funny you talking about doing trips like that. I remember doing the carrier trips, and we would ramp up sales the week before because we knew we were going to be out of the field for whatever it was, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. We're like, all right, I need to sell double what I normally sell in a week this week. And then the minute we get back, I need to be running. I remember sitting with Sean in the airport. We'd have our leads. There was no CRM back then. It was like you just had paper leads, bro. That was it. Yeah. But we'd carve out a little spot in the airport. We're on our way back we went to Punta Cana, went to Atlantis, all these places. So we're on our way back. We're waiting for our flight. We get up a little corner. Sean's at like the little attendant desk. Like we're just posting up, dude, booking appointments for when we land in a couple hours.
Yeah.
And then we hit the ground, leave the airport, and go right to run appointments.
And that's something I wanted to touch base on too, is what people don't see is the sacrifice. Like,
right.
Dude, those months earlier when we showed in Nebraska, like I was there 3 months. The second month, I have my girlfriend that I've been dating 6, 7 years calling me, is it going to be like this forever? Crying on the phone. And it's like I'm not going to say that. I'm going to make it sound good. But really, like, this sucks. Like, we're going to the hood. It smells like shit in there.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to. I don't want to be there. I don't want to be doing this, but I'm doing it for our future. And that's the thing. Is like, once you put a vision into place, so you have to get after it. And that's something that, like, not only helped my relationship, but helps all aspects is vision casting. Like, hey, I'm doing this for us. Like, imagine what the future is going to look like.
Yeah. You got to have a big why.
Yeah.
Like, is that something you work on with your agents?
Always. Know their why before they can do anything.
What's your why?
So my why is I want to retire both my brothers.
Okay.
So my brother was in the military. My other brother drives trucks, and I want to have them both retired by the end of this year.
That's all. How much older are they?
One's 28, one's 24. I'm 22.
Yeah.
One's 25 now.
Yeah, that's awesome. And once that's done, because you'll get there.
Yeah.
Then you got to have a new why. You have to revisit your why.
I do have another one.
What's your other one?
The other one is like, I mentioned earlier, like obviously coming up, I wasn't the brightest, making a lot of bad decisions.
Yeah.
And there was greatness inside of me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's like taking the money that I'm making and opening up a program or something to actually help kids that are in a similar situation like me, just making the wrong decisions, but definitely have the potential to do something to actually elevate them and change their lives before it's too late. You know what I mean? Like you mentioned earlier, like, is it hard not hanging out with the kids that you came up with? Most of them are dead.
Right.
Most of them are in jail. So it's like the one that's out is like, he's weird.
Yeah.
I don't want to hang out with him anyway.
Right.
So it's like, that's the big thing is changing people's situations before it's too late. So I definitely want to open up a program in the next year or two to do that.
That's awesome, dude. Well, good stuff, bro. Appreciate everything you're doing. Appreciate you coming up doing this.
Yes, sir.
This has been great. Maybe just chill out with the cars a little bit. You know?
Yeah.
What are you driving right now?
Jaguar. It's getting out of the shop today.
Okay. It's just, let's not 140, maybe like, a buck 20, something like that. No, actually, I didn't say that. Cut that out. No.
Keep it in.
But I appreciate you doing what you're doing, dude. Keep kicking ass.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. And I look forward to next year at convention giving you a red jacket, or not a red jacket, the Agency Hall of Fame jacket.
Yes, sir.
Because you got to pick it up a little bit, but I have no doubt you'll be there by December, dude.
We'll do it.
If not, we're going to be hounding you. We'll be calling you every week.
There you go. Perfect.
Yep, let's get it. But appreciate you guys. Thanks for checking us out. If you haven't already, go to flconvention.com. Get registered for next year's event. The last thing, you went to the event, right?
Yeah.
What was the biggest thing you took away from that?
I mean, the biggest thing is, like, I always like to talk about not just one thing. I like to talk about all the different views you have in convention. So I say sales is situational because not everyone's going to have the same approach.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you have 150 speakers up there,
Right.
you're going to find someone you connect with.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. And I told all my guys, like, find the person you relate to.
Yeah.
And then take their approach to selling. That's how you're going to get the results. So that's exactly what we did.
Love it. That was awesome, dude. All those speakers. Yo, so last thing I'll say, at this past event, we had more speakers than we had attendees at our first event in 2015. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
And it happens quick, dude. But like you said earlier, it's vision casting. I mean, Sean said we would fill stadiums, which we did. Sean said we would hit $1 billion in 10 years after we started doing $1 million a month, and we're on track to do that this year. But you got to speak it into existence. You ain't always going to hit it when you say you are, but putting it out there is huge. Vision casting, have a goal, have a big why.
100%.
But appreciate you guys. Thanks for checking us out. Subscribe if you haven't already. You know where to find us every week right here on The Next Level. We'll see you next week.